and then the gym.
It's sushi at the gym. Is that what you said?
Oh, I wish it was sushi at the gym. I'll never leave. It's sushi then the gym, or the gym then sushi, depending on how I feel.
Amazing. That sounds great. I yeah, no, I'm just hanging out at the house today. Probably gonna mow the lawn a little bit later. Nothing big going on here.
Yeah, well, it's Sunday relaxation, right? Before we jump into something that's very important to you, very important to me, it's codependency. But before we do so, Angela, do me a favor, introduce yourself and tell my audience a little bit about you and, of course, where they can find you.
Yeah, so I'm Dr. Angela Downey. I have a family practice in Canada. I also have a podcast called The Codependent Doctor, which I've been doing for about a year, just talking about anything codependency related. We talk about a lot of mental health issues. And I just have a book that just came out called Enough as I Am. And thank you. Yeah, so that's just come out in the last month or so. So I'm really excited to be talking to you today.
Perfect. So do me a favor, what is codependency and how can maybe we identify it?
Yeah, so codependency can be a whole lot of things. It's really coping mechanisms that you developed as a child when, maybe your living situation wasn't ideal, maybe your parents weren't very present. So you develop these coping skills. And as an adult, your sense of identity and self-worth and all of your emotional safety kind of becomes reliant on another person filling those needs for you. And you end up finding that your worth comes from like what you can do for other people. Maybe you become a people pleaser. You might fear rejection or abandonment. So you end up doing things to, help other people and you abandon yourself in the process because you don't want to lose that other person. Maybe you become a perfectionist because that's, you feel like if you're being perfect, then other people are gonna, be want to be with you or like you. So there's all these coping mechanisms that you've developed to, try and feel worthy and you don't feel worthy just because you exist. You feel worthy based on what you're doing for other people.
I love that last part where you feel valued, you feel worthy because of what you can do for other people.
Mm.
I've seen so many people who get their value from others to their own detriment. What can we do then to make sure that there isn't an imbalance and we're trying to be as balanced as possible when it comes to our friendships, romantic relationships, family members, even how we place ourselves in the life day to day?
Yeah, I think a lot of it stems from, really getting to know who you are and being okay with who you are. And if you have that confidence and you end up surrounding yourself with people who are going to like you for who you are, it becomes easier to have that balance. But when you're constantly putting yourself aside to make other people happy or to be what you think that they want you to be, it's really hard to find that balance. Because so I think part of that is just really getting to know who you are, learning to set boundaries and not feeling guilty for setting those boundaries. So it's hard to find that balance and it really starts with getting to know yourself better and just recognizing when there is an imbalance. Doesn't mean you have to fix it right away, but when you start noticing that imbalance happening around you, you just become more aware of things that might need to change.
I remember years ago, I began to notice that there's an imbalance in my life because this was in my 20s. I want to fix the world. Savior complex, as some people would say it, right? And I wanted so much for the people around me. But then there was a point in my life where I started to realize that what I wanted for them wasn't necessarily what they wanted for themselves. So
Mm.
I wanted happiness, I wanted peace, I wanted success, I wanted abundancy in life. And then these people just wanted to coast, right? They were
Yeah.
okay being less than. They were arrogant in it. You know what? I'm poor and I'm proud,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But what I learned from that experience was that sometimes you can want the very best for people, but that same people don't want the very best for them. Do you find that people struggle with that?
Yeah, we all have our own values and we see this a lot in like parent-child relationships when children are starting to get older, parents, push their kids into certain careers or, feel like you should be, dating somebody and then getting a house and doing all this stuff. So parents have these like expectations for their kids of the way things are supposed to progress. And then the child has no intention of doing any of that and doesn't care. So then the parent thinks they're doing the best thing that they can for their child, but if their child doesn't want that, it's going to be and if the child decides, okay, I'm going to please my parent and do those things, eventually that child's going to resent the parent for pushing the parent's values on them. And so it's really important for, people to like as a codependent, I think that we sometimes push our values on other people and we think we know what might be best for somebody else and we don't. And that person needs to do what's best for them. And if somebody's pushing their values on me, then I need to recognize that I don't need to do whatever other people tell me to do and that I need to do what's best for me.
How can then someone who's, let's say, for example, who's in a relationship with someone and they're dependent on this person for their happiness, for their peace,
Mhm.
because terrain in a relationship is different than terrain single, right? It's a different identity. Like father terrain is different than single terrain, and husband terrain is different than single terrain, right? So when we're looking to take on these new identities, these new titles, how can then we safeguard from ourselves not to be dependent on the other person, even though it may be coming from a place of love?
Yeah, it's really easy to become enmeshed in another person. You start dating somebody and all of a sudden you're, doing all the same activities together and you kind of forget who you are a little bit. You forget any hobbies that you used to have because you're truly just kind of picking up what everybody else is or what your partner is wanting to do. I'm sorry. Can you still hear me? Okay. The Yeah, it's hard. So you really need to know who you are and you need to know what your interests are and you need to find a way to um, have a life with the other person where you each do your own activities and at the end of the day you come together and you share everything that you've learned that day. But it's easy to become enmeshed in somebody else's life. And it's easy to, identify yourself as a parent or, so all I do is I'm just a parent. I'm just a dad. And my whole life revolves around my child. But you can't forget who Terrain is, right? Terrain, although you do have different roles with different people, you still need to be you and you still need to know what makes you tick and you can abandon yourself but it's hard to do for sure and it's easy to become enmeshed in somebody else's life and world.
I think that's a difficulty for a lot of people, especially like, let's say, or if a relationship is new or they've wanted it so badly. Like I used to date a girl and she wanted to become a mother so badly, right? Her sister had kids, her brother had kids. She was the one out of the three that didn't have children. And she wanted it so badly that Anja, whomever was going to give her this child, she would take
Yeah,
it.
yeah, absolutely.
Right? So she developed a dependency on the person that was she was with after me just because she can see the goal and the goal was so important to her that whatever values that person had, whatever beliefs that person had, she would become enmeshed in it. She would absorb it. And unfortunately, when it didn't work out now, she had a little bit of identity crisis because she lost herself in the pursuit of the goal. How do we then pull someone back and remind them that you were someone before this peer group, you were someone before this relationship, and you will be someone after as well?
Yeah, that takes it really takes getting to know who you are and it's easy and codependents often abandon themselves in because there is this want to have these relationships with people. They're desperate for love. They're it's just you're needing something from somebody else when really you need to need that stuff from yourself. Like, you're the only constant, you're the only person that's gonna be there your entire life. So if you grew up trying to get love and affection, and you craved that as a child, you're going to crave that when you're an adult as well. And really, you're the only person that's going to love you your whole life. But if you don't love yourself and you need it from other people, it's easy to lose who you are once you're in that relationship because that person is validating you